What is up, YouTube? How y'all doing there? Hey, check this out. I forgot to say it. I'm sorry, y'all. I said I was going to talk about how you can actually make money before you even reach your 1,000 subscribers. This is going to be very interesting, man. And I think that this guy right here is going to give me 12 minutes and I help you make your first $1,000 as a content creator. I'm dying to see what he's going to say. So right after this intro, we're going to check it out.
Growth's got a formula most never learned. You don't need luck or talent, structure is earned. If you're ready to build and you know it's your turn, start with the 4 free videos, earn as you learn. Click on the more below to sign up.
That's right. Click on the more link, look in our description so you can actually sign up for our 4 free videos. Once you watch the video, you can sign up for a call, and I'll sit and talk to you, man, and let you know some of the things that you can do, all my experience that I have. Anyway, check this out, man. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Let's check this bad boy out.
So I still vividly remember the first time I made any money online, and it was a grand total of $8. But I'm not even joking, it felt like I'd made $1 million. Like I was over the moon. And after that, it was only
I remember we made 7 cents or 8 cents or something. I ran upstairs and was telling everybody because once it's a journey, man. Just getting the 1,000 subscribers and you actually set up and everything, and then you got to give them your bank account information. Then you got to wait till they actually send you a little small amount of money in the bank. Then you got to tell them how much it was. And you put that in, and then they say, okay, you've been approved, and all this type of stuff. It's a journey, man. And I am so happy that we made it through that journey. Okay, here we go.
a couple of months later that I'd made my first $1,000 from creating content. So in this video, I'm going to give you what is easily the fastest, most beginner-friendly way to make your first $1,000 as a content creator. And it's the exact strategy that I used to not only make my first $1,000, but also to scale all the way up to 5 figures a month as well. But just before we dive into that strategy, I need to call you out on something, because I can almost guarantee you have at least one of these limiting beliefs when it comes to your journey as a content creator. So you might be thinking, I'm not interesting enough to make YouTube videos, or I'm not confident and I feel awkward on camera. And listen, I get why you feel that way. These thoughts, they feel true, especially if you're starting from zero. But the thing is that every single creator you know started off incredibly awkward on camera. Like, it's such an unnatural thing to do, just to sit in a room on your own and speak to a camera. But at the end of the day, the confidence that you're looking for has to be earned, not by thinking about it, not by waiting until you're ready, but by sitting down, pressing record, messing it up a little bit, uploading it anyway, and just repeating that process over and over. So if you can relate to that feeling, take this video as your sign to just get started and let the confidence catch up with you. Okay, so when it comes to making your first $1,000 online, you might also be thinking that you need a huge audience to start making any money, that you need millions of subscribers and millions of views. Well, that is so not true. If you pick the right niche. Now, I want to keep it as real and honest as possible in these videos, so this is something that most other creators are not going to tell you. But if you are in a low quality niche, you are going to have to work 10 times harder and get 10 times the amount of views to make the same kind of money as someone who is in a highly profitable niche. And I've actually experienced this myself. It is just the truth. So let me give you an example. If you are in, let's say, the entertainment niche, you make, I don't know, comedy videos or videos for children or something like that, your AdSense, so the amount of money you make per 1,000 views on your videos, is going to be really, really low. And on top of that, what do you even sell to that audience? However, if you are in a highly profitable niche, not only will your CPM be higher, so the amount of money you make per 1,000 views, but you can also start to set up other income streams so much easier. And trust me, in these kind of niches, you can have a very small audience and make a lot of money. Okay, so now that we've addressed these limiting beliefs, I want to dive into the more practical stuff. So let's take a look at the specific step-by-step framework to make your first $1,000 online. So generally speaking, there are 4 main ways to make money as a content creator, and I call these the big 4. And the first one is definitely the most well-known, and that is ad revenue. Now, I'm not going to waste too much of your time with this one. I'm sure you already understand, the YouTube partnership program and things like that. And there are actually other ways to make money directly from ads on a platform. For example, Twitter now pays you directly. TikTok also has a partnership program, but these other methods are extremely difficult to make any sort of real money. So this one primarily only really applies to YouTube. And when it comes to the amount that you make from the ads on your videos, the amount that you're going to make depends heavily, again, on the niche that you're in and also the length of your videos as well. And to give you a very quick example of just how much the AdSense can vary between niches, if you are in a highly profitable niche such as finance, business, career skills and things like that, and then you also make relatively long videos, you could make between $15 to $25 per 1,000 views on YouTube. Whereas let's say you're in the entertainment niche and you make relatively short videos, you might only be looking at $1 to $2 per 1,000 views. And again, I actually learned this the hard way. So I actually created a YouTube channel about 1.5 years ago, and it actually did really well. So that I think the second video I posted got like 400,000 views or something like that. So it did really well right out of the gate. But when I got accepted into the partnership program, I was making like $1.50 for every 1,000 views, which isn't even, remotely sustainable if you want to make any sort of real money. And the interesting part is that for most creators on YouTube, the money that they make from the partnership program is usually their lowest stream of income, because you can actually make way more money using the other methods that we're about to discuss. Okay, so the second way to make money as a content creator in the big 4 is actually sponsorships. So there is a big misconception when it comes to sponsorships. I think that most people think that you only start getting sponsored and you only start getting brand deals when you have a massive audience. But I know plenty of, let's call them micro creators, who are around the 5 to 10,000 subscriber or follower mark, who are making pretty good money from sponsorships. And when you start building up a decent sized audience, sponsorships can become extremely lucrative. And I'll give you an example from my own journey. So when my content started really blowing up, I started getting companies like Adobe reaching out. So if you don't know who Adobe are, they're the company that make Photoshop and Premiere Pro, After Effects. And unfortunately, I'm not allowed to tell you how much they pay for those sponsorships, but I can tell you it's very tasty. Like, it's a lot of money. But having said that, it's usually very inconsistent. Like, these big companies usually aren't going to want to pay you every single week or even every single month. And you never want to be one of those creators who's just shilling any product and, promoting some like mobile game app and just like completely selling out. So what we need to do is we need to find an income stream that makes us a lot of money, but is also consistent and reliable. And that actually brings us on to the third way to make money as a content creator, and that is one-on-one coaching. And the funny thing about this income stream is this is how a lot of creators start accidentally making money. Because if you're in a strong, profitable niche and you show through your content that you are trustworthy, that you are very knowledgeable, and that you can solve people's problems, then people will start messaging you about the specific problems that they're having within that niche. But having said that, if I'm being completely honest, I've never liked one-on-one coaching because it's just not scalable. Like, you're trading your time for money and there's no real leverage. But speaking of leverage, that actually brings us onto the fourth and easily the best way to make money from content creation. And maybe you've guessed it already, but that is digital products. So selling digital products is not only how I made my first $1,000 online, but it's also how I scaled my business and my brand to 5 figures a month in profit. So why is a digital product the best way to make money as a content creator? Well, first of all, the profit margin is essentially 100%. And you're also not trading your time for money, because you build the product once and then you can sell it for months or even years into the future. But when it comes to creating a digital product, what do we actually sell to our audience? Well, before I answer that question, there is one concept that you need to understand first. And it's something that I call the stepping stone principle. And trust me, once this clicks, once you understand this, making money as a content creator becomes effortless. So what exactly is the stepping stone principle? Well, it's the idea that your digital product should be the next logical step or the next natural stepping stone for someone who's been watching your content. So let me give you an example. Let's say your content helps students focus and stop procrastinating and, build better study habits. Well, if those are the topics you talk about in your free content, then your paid digital product should then be something that's going to genuinely help them solve those problems. So you could sell, Notion study templates that help them organize their tasks or help them to stop procrastination, or even some sort of guided course that is specifically aimed at helping students with their focus. And now you can see that the bridge between your free content and your paid product, there's virtually no friction. So it almost feels like the next logical stepping stone from your free content. Now, if you try to sell that same audience, let's say a course on how to build a business as a student, that's just not really going to work. There's way too much friction, and a large percentage of your audience is just not going to be interested in that product. So yeah, the digital product essentially needs to align with your free content. It needs to solve a very specific problem and also feel like a natural progression or a natural stepping stone from the topics that you talk about in your videos. Okay, so now let's talk about the best digital products that you can sell as a content creator to get to your first $1,000. So if you're just starting out creating content, one of the best strategies you can use is to start by selling low ticket digital products. Let's say in the range of $50 to $150. Now, if you are a complete beginner and you've heard the advice online that you need to be selling, high ticket products, you need to be looking more at one-on-one coaching. Because right now you don't really have the social proof to justify charging someone $2,000 or $3,000 for something like an online course. And it's going to be way easier to start selling low ticket digital products first, and then later on in your journey you can move up to start selling high ticket products as well. Now, the actual type of digital products that you want to sell is going to be highly dependent on your niche, but I will give you a few examples. So firstly, you can sell ebooks. So I actually had some really good results with this, selling an ebook on how to get more clients as a graphic designer. And the reason why I'm recommending this first if you're a beginner is because they are so easy to make. Like, you can literally make a professional looking ebook in Canva for free, or you can even just export a Google Doc as a PDF. Another type of digital product that you can sell is templates like Notion planners and things like that. And I can tell you right now, there are content creators out there who are making stupid amounts of money from Notion templates and ebooks as well. You can also sell things like digital assets. So if you're into graphic design or photography or video editing or any kind of visual based content, then you can sell things like presets or design assets and things like that. And I actually did this a couple of years ago, and it was my first ever digital product. And this is exactly how I made my first $1,000 a month. So I was selling, Photoshop templates and graphic design assets and things like that. Or another example is you could sell a video course or a pre-recorded workshop, which again is what I did on my own journey. And that's actually the method I used to scale to 5 figures a month. Now, if you're unsure on what to actually sell, I would always start with an ebook. It's super easy to make. You can set the price relatively low, and it's just a really good way to get your foot in the door and become comfortable with selling digital products. And if you have both a growing audience in a decent niche and also an ebook that genuinely offers solutions to the problems within that niche, then you can easily make $1,000 just from that product alone. And the final thing I want to dive into is, how do we actually sell these products? Like, what platforms do we use to take payments and upload our digital products? Well, the main website that you've probably heard of before when it comes to selling products online is Shopify. But I want to give you a warning here. Please do not try and use Shopify to sell digital products. Shopify is actually designed for selling physical products. And I've actually tried to sell digital products on Shopify, and it is an absolute nightmare. Like, you have to go and download all these additional apps in order to even sell digital products in the first place. And then they always break, and then customers don't get the product that they paid for. Honestly, it's a mess. Like, please do not try to use Shopify for digital products. Instead, if you are a complete beginner, I'm going to recommend that you use a platform called Gumroad. And the reason I would recommend Gumroad is, well, firstly, it's completely free. So there's no monthly subscription to host your online store. It's also super intuitive and beginner friendly, and it's so easy to add and edit products. And this is starting to sound like I'm actually sponsored by Gumroad. Obviously I'm not, but it's just a platform that I would recommend. So now that you have a good understanding of the best ways to make your first $1,000, we need to talk about the next crucial step, which is actually building your audience in the first place. So in this video right here, I will show you the exact strategy that I used to grow my audience to 250,000 in just my first 6 months on social media. And I know that sounds mad, but it really did happen. So click over to that video and I will see you there.
Wow. That's interesting right there. 250,000. Well, we're going to stay in the beginner stage. And one of the things that I want you guys to understand is don't focus on the 1,000 subscribers. You're going to get there. Trust me, you're going to get there. Don't focus on it so hard. You should be focusing on communicating with the people that are watching, the 1,000 people that you want to come to your channel. What are you going to say to them? Put your storyline together and then start adding one thing at a time. Once you get I teach people how to do the intro, the body, and the outro, and all the other stuff in between. And I teach it in a format where it can become easy for you to learn. And you'll know where you're at when you're speaking and everything. I'm about to go to the Bahamas, but if you want to know how to really grow that channel and get them 1,000 subscribers, click on this next video right here. It's amazing. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.